5 in today, so then I'll take this off. Just give me 1 second here. I gotta get it a little. I'll let you know. Okay, so welcome on this wonderful snowy day. Today, this is our agenda. I'm going to be doing another Pointillism demo on how to do your dark spots. I'm going to touch on our little shading activity that we're doing, because I noticed I was glancing through some of your storage boxes, and I noticed that some of you were having trouble with the shading part in the dark area. Then I'm going to have in-class personal conferences, and I'm going to call each person name by name, and you're going to bring the following with you: the image that you're drawing, and the drawing itself, the Pointillism sheet. You're going to bring all of that with you. So then we can see where you're at, and I can give you some guidance, because I'm having trouble going around the room and trying to get everybody who's raising their hand, and then getting everyone who's not raising their hand. I'm all forgetful like that, because I'm all over the place. So this is much more organized for me to help you and make sure that you get your one-on-one. For today, mainly, I would really like to have your practice sheet finished, so that I know that you know what you're doing when you go into your final piece on making those dots and creating those shades. And before you begin actually shading your final image, I would like you to see me, but I don't want you to sit around and wait for me until I get to you for your personal conference. So I'm going to show you an example of what the shading sheet should look like and what it should not look like. And if you have those sort of things going on in your shading sheet, when you start your Pointillism piece, you're going to want to make sure that you're not doing what you're not supposed to do on your final, because I would hate for you to have to start all the way over. So later on, we have some images here, some pieces of student work. Some of it's in the showcase, and some of it's right here. And in the middle of class, when you have time, you can come pick it up.
You want me to come in for sure last 20 minutes?
Sure. We are ending at 8:25.
Oh, yeah.
Or 8:20.
Here, for
You guys watch the clock, because it's 24 that the bell's going to ring today. So, like 22 if one of us hasn't noticed.
So that means I'll come in 8:05, and then if anybody needs help,
Okay. So I'm going to briefly, I'm going to briefly go over the deadline, because last time we did that collage project, a lot of you did not turn in your personal reflection sheet, nor did you turn in your brainstorming sheet, and you lost automatically 30 points, and that was why your grade went all the way down. You had an opportunity to turn those in within those 3-day period, but many of you did not turn it in, and you lost the opportunity, which made me a little sad. The brainstorming sheet for this actual activity is going to be your black and white image, because that's the image that you've selected that you're basing your whole project off of. This Pointillism project is different, sort of, deadline-wise compared with collage. The due dates begin from February 28th to March 1st. The very last day that you can turn it in is March 1st. If you turn in any day after that, I only accept 3 days after that, and each time you turn it in a day late, it's 10 points minus for that day, the amount of days that it was late. Tuesday is our last class day that we're going to be working on this. So over the weekend, you might want to bring it home and see if you have any questions that you want to figure out and ask me on Tuesday or Monday, because after Tuesday, I'm done with the in-class help. Unless you need help, you're going to have to wait until after class to ask me, because we're going to be doing other projects. So those are the deadlines. And this is also on the web page, and I have the web page written up here. And if you ever need access to the grading rubric to see what you're being graded on, simply click this. A file will come up on your computer, and the grading rubrics are right here. so you know exactly what you need and what you're expected to do. Okay, so I started my B just a bit because I wanted everyone to see an example of what we're doing here. What I did is just like your still life, and just like on your notes, we're gonna follow what shading is. So if you have any questions regarding shading for your pointillism project, those notes that you got for the presentation, this would be very helpful. So if you're bringing it home and I'm not there to help you, use your notes, because there's definitions of notes and there's actual visual examples in the notes that you can use that will help you figure what's going on. So the first step, when you start your points, when you're done with your shading activity, you're going to start your points. But first of all, I see some of you have been coloring in to make the dark spots. You're not supposed to do that. So when you're doing your final piece, don't color in the dark spots like this. Make them dark because there's a little bit of space in between the dots. Right here it looks like it's colored in, but really if you look up very closely, this has a texture to it, and it's a bunch of dots, and there's very little white space. That's why it looks like it's shaded in, because there's barely any white space there. So this is how I would like your blending to look generally. I mean, this part could be a little bit darker, but I just made it a quick example for you. Light, medium, medium, dark, dark. Same thing here. Many of you seem to get what's going on right up here, so I'm very pleased with that. And if you have any more questions regarding that, I will be having a personal one-on-one conference with each of you. So the first step is doing the dark dots. Treat the whole thing, the whole image as, treat the whole shape as a whole. So in order to make that line here, don't draw the line in like that. You're going to have to do it dot by dot. So this looks like it's sort of drawn in because there's barely any white that you see, but I'm not drawing it in. I'm dotting it in. The closer the dots are, the thicker the line's going to be. Remember that implied line that we talked about yesterday? You want an implied line here. So your darkest dark should have the darkest outline with the dot. But as it goes away, it should feather. See how I allowed a little more space over here to give you a sense that the shadow is starting to lighten as it moves across the object? And generally, you're just going to want to go and treat the whole area. Don't focus on one area, because you're going to start getting exhausted, and then you won't treat the whole area equally, and it's going to look like your shadow is going up and down. It looks like you're going to have some mushrooms or something, because it's going to be all like, ooh, and you don't want that. So see this shape right, there's a shape right here, you can barely see it. But I'm going to go around that for right now until I can actually get these areas darker, because right here, that's a lighter spot. That's going to have less dots in it. But I don't want to treat this as the same as that because they're different. If I put dots here, I'm going to lose my shape. I'm not going to be able to find it. And then you won't be able to say, oh, well, this is a dark shape and this is a light shape. So treat the shapes as a whole. But if there's a shape within a shape, treat one shape at a time. You want to get your darkest darks in first. Just like you did on your value still life, we're going to do the same steps here. Darkest darks first, or cast shadows or whatnot, and then we're going to move into maybe highlight and back to reflected light. Because reflected light is really hard to do. And your filler, you kind of wait on that too. So let's focus on our darkest darks. So that is what we're going to be doing today. If you have any questions, you can ask me during the personal conference time. I'm not going to have a lot of time to get to students outside of this personal conference thing, so I'm going to be mainly up here in order to help those with their one-on-one. So